and why he is one of the most influential figures to the youth of all times. So in the Times Top 100 in 1998, Ho Chi Minh got his place in the top 100 people with great influence to the world, considering various aspects. So he is an influential figure for all, but here I am focused on why he influenced, he affect positively to young people because by his own life experience and his thoughts, and that's what makes him the more admirable about. So the description of Ho Chi Minh's personal life is kind of they don't have the sources, reliable sources, but since during his years of being of working abroad in foreign lands, he has used a lot of kind of fake names to cover up his identity. But as far as we know, Ho Chi Minh was born on 19th May 1890 in Ngan province, given the name Nguyen Sinh Kun as his birth name. And although he, in the year of 1911, when his country is, okay. So in 1911, he left his country so as to find a path to the nation's salvation. And at that time, he's only 21, which was not an old age. It's just a young age. At that time, when young people around that age, they usually have the same problem as the same challenge as he had to face. The challenge to follow what he believed in, what he truly desired to achieve, or just stay and do what others want him to do. So Ho Chi Minh he didn't need to travel abroad on a lifelong journey full of challenges. He may stay in Vietnam, grow up, have a family and a normal job, or he can, if he's exceptionally good, he can go a really good work in foreign countries and live a normal life, not influenced by the Vietnam War at that time. But he chose to leave for the nation's salvation, and which was a brave decision, but also risky at that time. And his own action, it's like information. It's like it reminds young people to choose carefully, to think twice before they chose the path they are going to walk on the rest of their life. They can choose a risky one like Ho Chi Minh, or they can choose normal ones, and that's up to their choice, but his action makes them think. And the next one is that the next reason why he is definitely a model to young people, because he's extremely noble and diverse in cultural knowledge about several aspects. He has knowledge to an extent level, and still, in his profile, he wrote that he knows languages such as French, English, Chinese, Italian, German, and Russian. But in fact, many believe that through his visits to different foreign countries, with his diplomacy delegations, he must have learned and managed to be fluent in many different languages, including Spanish, Arab, and many others in remote areas of Vietnam. And these abilities were not inborn to him. He attributed to hard work. And that's an article has one measured that he may have known at least more than 20 languages. And while a student like me and many people struggle to learn one language, he has learned much more than them. And with compare their condition together, he is worth learning. And the story of his journey to learn, his challenge to learn French may explain more and make you understand more about how he learned foreign language. So during his trip to France in 1911, he made it clear, important to himself that he had to understand French well in order to live in French and see what French people do, in order to learn their best and then bring them back to contribute to his country. And in order to achieve this, he managed to learn French every day with 2 soldiers on the cruise. They are French, they are native, they teach him. Whenever he has something to ask, he asks them and they answer for him. And that is one of the most effective way of learning a foreign language, is that you communicate with the native. And even young people today have to pay a lot of money to be able to have lessons, lectures with the natives. And at that time, he was somewhat lucky to have that chance. So, but the 2 soldiers is not the only reason why he's so fluent in French, both in writing and speaking. He practiced every day, like practice makes perfect. Every day he wrote new words on his arms and learned it while he was working. And despite his work being busy or as heavy as it may seem, he never, not a day goes by that without he noting new words on his arm. And in the evening, he wrote it down on his notebook. He has only 2 notebooks, and it contains all of the words he had to learn. Just 2 notebooks and 1 pencil, and that's what makes him those 2 things led the way him to be one of the most well-known journalists at that time, and which is unbelievable and admirable. And so, Ho Chi Minh's study condition are inferior compared to that of young people nowadays, and we learned a lot from him. We learned that regardless of our busy work or our health condition, anything, if we want to manage a foreign language, we have to practice it every day. So, but despite in addition to the hardworking, in addition to the difficulties he has to face learning foreign language, he has also have to face challenges in foreign lands. So his journey to France, when he was at such a young age, he had nothing out of his brain, his heart, and his 2 empty hands. And before he can study, before he can contribute and learn and save his nation, he needs money to live. So he did a lot of jobs, from a teacher, a clerk, or a shopkeeper. Not anything that brings in money, he may did it with, regardless that he is tired. He's a lot of the jobs didn't bring much money, but at least if he knew that if he tried harder in the job, he may get more money more chance to learn, and he will become closer to his purpose. He will try it. And I have an article in which Ho Chi Minh narrated himself. My whole life has only one purpose. the interest of the motherland and the happiness of the people. Whenever I have to hide in the mountains or go to prison and overcome all danger, it is only for that purpose. And that sentence is one that made him so influential to all Vietnamese as well as the world at that time. They admired him not only for his patriotic character, but also for his strong will. He may change the way he can do everything for him to reach that goal. He may change the way to reach it. Like if when he found it unsuccessful in France, he traveled to Russia and many other countries. Each place he went to, he learned something about them. He learned the history and the people and the culture. And everywhere he went to, he learned something. He learned a lot until he knew that his destination still varied until he find a place that can provide him with the with the path he needs to save his nation, and in this case is Russia. But the important thing about this is that no matter how difficult it is, he can change the way, he can change the place, the destination. The people helped him to reach that, but he never changed the goal. The purpose always remained, and that's what makes him so what is kind of a little bit unbelievable about him. Like talking about my problem myself, even when I choose a school, my high school or my university, if I consider some aspect that I may not have the time and effort needed to sit their exam, maybe I will change the school and keep fighting. But here, if he has claimed that this is his goal, he may stick to it and he do everything to achieve this. And that is what all young people, and no, not all people, but especially young people, have to learn from Ho Chi Minh. And speaking about the moral example of Ho Chi Minh, the Vietnamese party affirmed that the life of Ho Chi Minh is a great example of the revolutionary spirit, of the spirit of independence, self-control, and noble